Hello everyone. We have already started with the first chapter of distributed system, that is introduction. So in this lecture we are going to discuss on architectural styles. Okay. So while talking about architectural styles, we need to first consider the logical organization of distributed system, and that logical organization is consist of software components, and this is referred as software architecture. Okay. As it is, as software components are arranged, okay, it is called as software architecture. So research on software architectures has maturedly considerable. Okay. And it is now commonly accepted that designing or adopting any architecture, any software architecture, is crucial for the successful development of any large distributed system. Okay. So for this discussion, the notion of architectural style is very important. Okay, how you are organizing your software components, that is very important. So, and such styles are formulated in terms of components. Okay, I have already told you, that is software components. The way how components are arranged, okay, or how components are connected with each other, and how data exchange between this component, and finally how these elements are jointly configured into the system. This is very important while developing architectural style. Okay, a component is a modular unit of this particular we can say system, distributed system, and these modular units should be well defined, and it should provide the interfaces that is replaceable within the same environment. Okay, its environment. uh, Again, some important issues are there about the components which you are using in distributed system, that is it should be replaced, or how it can be replaced, and how it will provide the interfaces. Okay, so using components and connectors we can come to various configurations, right? um, Means arrangement and connecting the components, there can be many ways. Okay, so which in turn have been classified into many architectural styles. Okay, so several styles have been identified, which are useful for development of distributed systems. So here the styles are listed, you can see, that is layered architecture, object based architecture, then data centered architecture, and event based architecture. So we will see these architectural styles one by one in detail. The basic idea of layered architecture style, that it is very simple. Okay, and components are organized in layered fashion. You can see in the diagram, components are arranged in the layered fashion. uh, mm, you can see n number of layers are there, and they are allowed to call the components at a particular layer. Okay, this model has been widely adopted by networking community. We see in any networking thing, we see the layered protocols are used. So this is very popular in networking community. And you can see here key observation, that is in this particular architectural style is that control is generally flows from layer to layer. Okay, means requests goes down the hierarchy, as per hierarchy. Okay, and result, or we can say response, flows upward. You can see request flows downward in the layered architecture, and response or result flows upward. Okay, this is about layered architecture. Second thing is the object based architecture. You can see the diagram, or in you can see the figure, which is describing the components, how components are arranged. So in essence, each object corresponds to what we have defined as a component. Okay, and these components are connected through the remote procedure call mechanism. Okay, this software architecture matches the client server system, you can see here. and the layered and object oriented object based architectures can form most important and widely used styles for the large software systems. Then third system is data centered architecture. You can see here in structure centered architecture, the idea is that processes communicate through the common repository. That common repository may be passive or active. You can see here the event bus is there, and it can be urged that for distributed system these architectures are very important as layered and object based architectures. Okay, if we'll take in I'll give you an example. The wealth of networked application have been developed that rely on shared distributed file system, in which virtually all communication take place through files. Okay, likewise web based distributed system are largely data centric and processes communicate through the use of shared web based data services. Likewise here also the shared event buses are there, and these components are communicating through these shared data buses or event bus. It is called as event bus. Through the shared data spaces, and these are common, or we can say these are shared between the various components. In event based architecture, processes are essentially communicate through the propagation of the events. Okay, propagation of events through optionally, and which optionally carries the data as well. For distributed system, event propagation has generally been associated with what you publish. Okay, what you publish or subscribe the system. That is the basic idea is that processes publish the event, after which the middleware ensures that only those processes that subscribed to those events will receive them. Now what is this middleware, that we are going to see in the upcoming lectures of this particular chapter only. So basically the main advantage of using event based system is processes are loosely coupled. Okay, and the principle that they need not explicitly refer to each other. Okay, this process, or this is also referred as being decoupled in the space or referentially decoupled. Okay, in event based architecture, or it can be combined with the data centered architecture. It is also known as shared data spaces. The essence of shared data spaces is that processes are now also decoupled in time. They need not both be active when they communicate, when the communication is taking place. Okay, and many shared data spaces are data spaces like we can say the SQL. Okay, SQL like interfaces to the shared repository, in that sense that data can be accessed using description rather than explicit references. So in such architectures, instead of accessing any data using interfaces or using direct connections, using description as well, you can access the data. So what makes these software architectures important for distributed system is that they all aim that achieving the distributed transparency. That means hiding the details at reasonable levels. Okay, so this is about architectural styles. We will stop for today. Next point we'll see in next lecture. Thank you.